Welcome, everyone. We have a special return guest today. I think one of my well, and I don't know if it's because we're both Florida girls or if it's just I have a I used to watch you on Knitting Daily. Was it Knitting Daily that you were on?
Yeah.
And when I still got that, which I don't anymore, but or that your crochet designs make me want to grab a needle and up my skill level. So I'm not really sure which of those or a combination thereof, but I'm so happy to welcome back Kristin Omdahl, who is here to talk about her latest book, Crochet So Lovely. So welcome, Kristin. It's great to
Thank you, Bob.
yeah, it's great to see you again. I think the last time you were here, I think it was Crochet So Fine. Was that the last one?
No, it might have been knitting outside the swatch, maybe,
Oh, I,
or
I think you're
or it
right.
could have been knitting Rhapsody or Seamless Crochet or the Finer Edge. I've done
My goodness.
several books since Crochet So Fine.
Oh, yeah. Wow. I always get tired just talking to you because you always have 50 million things going on at any given time. But we appreciate that you take the time to provide us these amazing books, and then we'll talk a little later about some really crazy new projects that you have going on, which just like takes these projects to a whole different place. So, but tell us first how Crochet So Lovely came about.
Well, I guess it would have to be, in my opinion, I feel like it's an extension from Crochet So Fine. So Crochet So Fine would have been the first volume of me expressing what I truly believe is where crochet design should go, and that's in fine fabrics that are figure flattering on many figures. The problem that I feel with crochet garments is that because of the nature of crochet, it can be a lot bulkier than knitting,
Yeah.
and I feel like in lace work and knitting, in fact, when Crochet So Fine came out, it wasn't really that common at that time. Now it is. There's lots of people design lace work and all kinds of drapey, finer fabrics in crochet as well as knitting. But back when Crochet So Fine came out, that was a kind of a new thing. And there just came a point when after I wrote that book and I went in other directions and did a lot of different techniques, I wanted to get back and do another collection of newer designs that incorporated everything that I love about crochet and making it beautiful and something that you would wear not just when you're going to go show off your crafting skills at a craft show or when you're going to go to knitting and crochet night with your girlfriends. I wanted to create outfits and designs that you would wear in your real world application. Does that make sense?
Yeah,
Because we have a lot of
absolutely.
projects that we are proud of for technique or proud of for different reasons or love the yarn, but it isn't something you'd wear on a date or you'd so in fact that reminds me when I proposed this book Crochet So Lovely to my editor, I told her, I said, this book is about designing for wearing on a date if Dwayne Johnson were to ask me out and I had all the money in the world to shop at Neiman Marcus or Saks or any high-end boutique. These are projects that based on the different type of date he would invite me out on, I would wear these over anything money could buy. And I'm serious. That's actually what I wrote to her in an email.
So Dwayne Johnson is the top of your list then, huh?
Yeah.
Yeah,
He's taken, but that's okay.
that's all right.
I could I could admire him from afar. That's fine with me.
How funny. So, yeah, and I think that's the thing for me is, because I know you knit and crochet, and
Mhm.
I do as well, but I consider myself primarily a knitter because of the finer feel of the fabric, because I was used to those designs like you were talking about from 20 years ago, where you could pretty much stand those garments up by themselves. You didn't have to fold them. You could just stand them up in the corner until you wore them because they were so thick and bulky. And, to see that shift now, and when we show the preview of the book, there are garments in there that I had to look twice because I could have sworn they were knit rather than crochet. So I'm hoping that take on it brings more people into the crochet fold, because especially if people are my age, because I'm almost 60, is, when you think crochet, you think those thick, chevron Afghans that your grandmother made, as opposed to the garment on the cover of this book that, I mean, you would expect to see something like that in a very high-end fashionable store. It's just, yeah, beautiful. So I think, and let me just check. Oh, Kate says she's excited for the show. Welcome, Kate. So let me just see if you could just type in the chat window, everyone. I want to know how many crocheters we have. Because I suspect, like me, I think a lot of knitters do, like,
Another one.
yeah, there you go. Oh, see, is that because used crochet a lot for, yeah, there you go, for trimming on knitwear, because I love crochet for trim. But yeah, there you go. So everybody does a little bit at least. So, all right, well, you're in for a treat, because you're about to see just what you can do with crochet, which is so, it's just, the designs in here are just really magical. So tell us about this cover project, because this is so beautiful, and really beautiful how the shoulder shows through the open areas. I just think this is so feminine and delicate. Tell us about this project.
Well, this one was, for the most part, I consider myself an experimental designer. I don't just take stitch patterns and create garments out of them. A lot of times I try to take a technique or take something I see outside of um, the crochet and try to create it in crochet or knitwear sometimes too. In this one, I wanted to see if I could make motifs and medallions out of broomstick lace. So it actually started with an experiment of those scallops along the lower edge that look kind of like hearts.
Yeah.
And I took a technique of crochet called broomstick lace and created these scallops. And then, because I'm also a designer that does not like to sew, I like sewing, but I don't like to sew in knitting and crochet. Big difference. And so I wanted to create these motifs, but then create a seamless construction to make this lace shawl with this scalloped motif broomstick edge, but make it seamless. And this was more of a construction-based design or inspired design, but it turned out to be really beautiful, and the color, and I love the way it's styled on the cover. Green with gold accessories is so beautiful, and on her beautiful red hair, I'm in love with this photo.
Yeah, it's really, really gorgeous. And Kate says she can't see the book, but
oh, bummer.
Everybody else is. Oh, yeah, and I think Kate, you might want to just log out and log back in, because I think it's you, not me. Sorry, Kate. So, and yeah, and Kate was saying that she had just finished your berry mesh top, and she's excited to wear it this summer. So it's always
tell her to send me a photo. I'd love to see it.
Oh, you have to send a picture, so, because Kristin wants to see it. So give it another shot, Kate. See if you can when you come back in, if you can see the screen. So, all right. So this is one of the first projects in the book. And it's actually like a very shimmery gold yarn, but the drape on this looks like it's knit.
This one is, I did a whole chapter in the book on creating lace from gauge, not necessarily with lace stitches, which is actually something that a true beginner could learn how to do. And it's something that you are very familiar with in knitting, and that is that you change the gauge of your needle or hook size much larger than what the yarn calls for. And to take this a step further, I did 2 different yarns, one with the right gauge, one with the wrong gauge, and this is all in single crochet. So the single crochet fabric is what you would think of in the past as something that could stand up on its own, right?
Exactly.
But single crochet is also one of the tightest stitches, which will give you that more knitted look of a texture. because there's not so many different textures combining in the stitch. So think of a one row of single crochet in the right gauge, then one row of single crochet, like this is an H hook, which is 5 mm. So one yarn is a worsted weight, then the next yarn is ultra lace weight. So can you see how you'd
Oh my
start to get
gosh.
right? It's in
Yeah.
the same color. One yarn, in fact, there's two yarns held together. One's a sequin and a very light mohair, and then the other one is a ribbon that's correct gauge. So you're getting the structure of using the right gauge, but you're getting these stripes of texture that it makes it really loose and very drapey, and all with just using simple single crochet, the first stitch that you would learn when you're learning how to crochet.
Yeah, that's crazy that this top is single crochet because, yeah, you would expect it to stand up on its own. So pretty.
Right, and it does not.
Yeah, so pretty. And this is
Thank you.
lovely. And just everything. It's like the color, the fuzziness of the yarn, this is really gorgeous. And I think you call this with the rustic capelet, I think. Yes.
Um, it's in that brushed mohair and I'm sorry, brushed cashmere and silk yarn that's lace weight by Taki Stacy Charles. It's called Superior, and it feels like a fluff of a cloud. It's so beautiful and very light. What's interesting about this design is not only are you joining these motifs as you go, knowing, but also I think that this could be really interesting if you made a drawstring in that upper band here to either cinch it tighter for another look in the capelet, or if you added an extra ball. This is a one ball project, by the way. If you added a second ball and made it longer, this would be a beautiful overlay skirt
Yeah, so
with a
pretty.
drawstring.
Yeah, I have
And you
some of
wouldn't have
that
to
yarn
add any shapes
I have
to
some
it.
of that yarn in my stash and I pet it regularly. It's
Oh, it's so nice.
That's
Yeah.
very nice. It's very, very nice. And this is one of those things that I love. It's like one of those layering pieces that depending on what you put underneath it, it completely changes the look. And I just love the drapey parts at the side. I know you call this the trapeze tank. Tell us about this project?
Um, this is the type of garment. I've seen this in stores for years, and in cut and sewn fabric, whether it's in a jersey knit or a gauzy cotton. The bottom hem is called a handkerchief hem, and that's because it has four corners like a square. And I've been looking at it for years going, how would you knit or crochet that? How would you knit or crochet that? And then one day I just said, you know what, just try it. Try to make a square at the bottom and work your way up and, figure something out. So I ended up taking this, and the problem with doing experimental design sometimes is that you can take 50 hours before you figure out if it worked or not. So I knew I wasn't going to go bottom up and see how that worked. And I also wanted to use a really quick stitch so that I could find out sooner than later if I had to unravel the whole thing. So I came up with this X stitch, which is incredibly different. It's like no other crochet stitch I've ever done before, and it's where you're working each leg of those four legs of the X separately and at the same time. And when you read the book, you'll understand what I'm saying in that. So just to move forward, so each row is like an inch, so it goes really quickly working from the top down. Then I added the panels, crocheted the panels at the bottom so that it would have that square at the bottom for the handkerchief hem. And I did it in this yarn by Alchemy that's called Silk and Straw. It's a silk ribbon. And I knew it would have a lot of drape, and once I finished it and blocked it, I was like, oh my God, it did work. And this is one of my favorite pieces to wear. I think this over a white tank top and white jeans or white shorts in the summer with cute wedges is an adorable outfit. I love it.
Yeah, Michelle and Jean both say they love this too. And yeah, I mean, there are like a million different ways you could wear this depending on what you put underneath it. It's just really, really beautiful. So, and
there's an interesting question that just came up. Has it grown when worn? I get asked that a lot, and my answer to that is most yarn doesn't really grow. What happens is if you didn't block your swatch before measuring your gauge, Think about it in this way. If you're making garments, you're going to wash them eventually, right? So if you
One would
don't,
hope.
right. So if you're going to take a gauge swatch, always wash it first. Yarn is affected by water. I don't care how tight, loose, or what fiber you're using, everything's affected by water. And if you want to get accurate gauge results, wash and block your swatch before you take your gauge, and your sweaters and your garments will not grow any more than you think they're going to grow.
Well, and that's always good to know. And hey, Jean, Jean, can you turn off your webcam, please? Because it's going to make things really slow for people. I can't see it. Hey, Jean, just shut it off. Just shut off your webcam. Okay. Oh, sorry. Back to where we were. Thank you. All right. So this is a beautiful little top. The same thing as, like, you could put this over. You could wear this to work. You could make it in a nice, like, you could put it where, like, make it in black and put it over something for the evening. It's just, this is adorable. I love this. So tell us about this.
What you can't see in the photo is that it actually has that cold shoulder look. Can you see in the side to the left, which
Yeah,
is the right?
you can see her upper arm peeking through.
Yeah. The arms have the cutout in it. When I think cold shoulder is one of the sexiest looks, it's a great piece of skin that is sexy without being overtly sexy. And I actually designed this top to be a surplus wrap top, where you would cross those fronts over and then tie it in the back or the front again. I wear this over a maxi dress that has a print to it that has a little bit of this color in it, but I wrap it so that the fronts cross over and then tie it around. See how long the ties are even?
Yes.
It really works very well as a surplus top, but it looks cute the way that it was styled for the book as well, which is nice because then you know that there are two different ways to wear it.
Great. Hey, Jean, turn it back off, hon. All right, so this I just absolutely adore. So, and I love the mix of the solid and the lace. And so tell us about this project.
Well, this one is really more of like a trompe l'oeil. You know that expression about painting where you can make something look like something it's not? It's a French term in painting. Well, anyway, this is what I was trying to do here. This is not, sorry, what's the word? There's no shaping in the body in this sweater. It's actually a box. And I created the illusion of shaping in two ways. First of all, I did a V formation of the lace and kept it solid stitches on the sides. Well, what happens when you create a V? You create the illusion of something being thinner at the bottom than at the top. And then if you notice on the sides, I left the side vents open and added a little lace panel there. Well, now now by not seaming it all the way down, you've created more space, so now you have the illusion of it going hourglass shape.
Yeah,
but without really shaping. So there's nothing tight on you. And I did it in a lace weight yarn with a very fine hook. So it's the finest of fabric. It is so gorgeous in person, so nice on, and it is flattering on. It really doesn't matter what type of a shape you have. If you wear the right size for you, this is flattering on everyone.
Yeah,
it's worth your time to work with the tiny hook.
Well, and also this one's getting a lot of love in the room. And
thank you.
Yeah, so Roxy said it's brilliant construction, and Savannah Gal loves the diamond pattern, the openings on the sleeve, the wide cuff. I mean, it's like all those little details that don't scream homemade project. You know, it's
a lot of work. This one is the most work of anything in the book. I used a 2.75 millimeter crochet hook, which is a B, I think, and with lace weight yarn. But I've got to tell you, it's worth the effort. This is the piece that will look good on every time you wear it, and you'll feel pretty in it. It's that kind of piece.
Yeah, well, that's the kind we all want. right? It's not the kind that we do it and we say, well, that's done. It goes in the closet and it sits forever.
How many times have you done that? I've done it a million times too.
Too many times, I'm afraid. Yeah, Cassandra said that reminded her of bobbin lace, which is her other craft. And Cassandra is used to then working with tiny yarns and tiny hooks. So that project's probably not as intimidating to you as it might be to other people. So Cassandra, I think you should go for it. I think you should make that top. And then I think you should send a picture so Kristin can see just how fabulous a job you did. So I'm just saying.
I would love to see that.
Yeah, I have to say, I think this may be my favorite project in the book. There's just something so romantic and kind of ethereal, which ethereal is not used to something a word I am used to using with crochet. But this particular top,
that yarn you love too.
Yeah. Oh,
this is that yarn you love, Superior by Taki Stacy Charles. So imagine this is a wisp of a cloud also. It's light and delicate and romantic in the look, but it's light and delicate romantic in the way it feels and the way it feels on. You feel romantic in this top.
Yeah, well, that yarn against your skin is like crazy. So then the only thing you have to do is keep people from touching you. Petting you as you walk by, because it's right.
Unless that's what you want, yeah, because it's definitely a pettable yarn.
Yeah, exactly. So yeah, Savannah Gal says it's very feminine and pretty, which I agree. There's just something about how the almost the leaf type shapes at the top are placed and the little flutter sleeves. Mary Alice says this is gorgeous. You have really good taste, Mary Alice. So yeah, this is really beautiful. And I had to look twice because when I looked at the picture, I thought, no, this has got to be knitted. So, right? It's really beautiful. Really, really beautiful. And then this is a showpiece. This, when you wear it, you just need to back into the room. So, because this is such a showpiece. This is beautiful. Tell us about this.
Thank you. This is another one of my experimental pieces. For anybody that knows what Bruges lace is, it's a crochet technique of taking strips and joining them to other strips, and usually it's done in like a serpentine pattern like this. So what I thought about is like, well, I know that if you're going to use plain stitches, even in knitting or crochet, and if you're going to make a circle, you start small and you work your increases out to make the circle bigger, right? Well, I decided to do my strips and join them as I go in a spiral, and change the amount of double joining as I went, so that it would be so that it would grow in the same pattern that you would at the crown of a hat. Does that make sense?
Yes. Wow.
Okay, so I did, and it worked.
Yeah, it's always nice when it works, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Exactly. The first one I made of this, I did in black, and I did it before the book came out. I did it because I was headed to a lingerie show for launch. It wasn't launching, but one of the lingerie trade shows that I go to for Rapture, and I made it in black because I thought it looked like fishnet to wear on my arms, because it was like lingerie looking, and it was a lingerie show. And it's funny because people would say all weekend, "I love that sweater. It looks like lingerie on your arms." And I thought, and I loved it. But then when I decided to write the book, black isn't really a color that you choose for the palette of a book. Black and red are two colors that don't photograph the best. So they're colors that we avoid when we're designing the palette for a book. And so I switched to a purple and remade the sweater, and still love it. I think it's awesome. I love the fact that idea worked.
Yeah, and Kate says this is great for going out at night in the summer. You know, where you want something that covers you up a little bit, but that you still want that light, and you want skin to show, and it's because it's summertime. Yeah, it's really, really pretty. Yeah, and Patricia says this is great, which I agree. Now there are some accessory pieces in the book as well, because there are 21 designs in the book. And this is really, really lovely. And I normally would not have thought of doing a cowl for myself in crochet because, I want it to drape around my neck, and, it's got to be lacy and designed properly. So I don't see a lot of those. So this is really pretty, and just in the color palette in it is so nice. Tell us about this project, because this is actually, people are like, I'm loving this too. So
Well, there's a couple things to say about it. First of all, I use Tina Whitmore's yarn, Freya Yarns. She's a wonderful hand dyer, and she ombre dyes this yarn. It's 100% wool, and she makes it change color only one time in the ball of yarn. So this is actually two balls, and I started it from different ends so that it would change color the one time. So it goes from dark blue to teal, and then back from teal to dark blue for the two different balls. Then this is also a Bruges lace project, but what I did in this one is, instead of doing Bruges lace where you take a strip of fabric and add chains on the outside, this time I took a medallion that works in rows and figured out how to join it to the continuation of the strip in spirals without adding those chains, and doing it so that the scallops of the motifs would offset, if that makes sense. This was a lot of work to figure out and
yeah,
took lots of tries, but it was worth it.
they're almost kind of laid like bricks, so that they sit in the right. They sit in between each other.
Which was not the easiest thing in the world to figure out, but once I did, it is gorgeous. And then, in order to make it an interesting shape to wear as a cowl, I wanted it to go from wider at the bottom so that it would come down, below your mid-arm, but then come up to your neck without flopping all over itself. So I went from a tiny hook to a medium large to a large to an extra large hook, so that it would create the shape. And then it's a little stiffer at the collar, which is fine, and gets looser as it goes down, but worked in a spiral.
Wow. Well, thanks for doing that math for us. So, and these are so pretty. I love the lacing on it, because it is definitely, well, depending on what color you did these in, these are pretty sexy for mitts,
I think it's so funny that you use the word sexy for this, because I do have a funny story about this project. These were actually supposed, and I designed these also on the way to on the way back from that same lingerie trade show. I made these lace corset-tied thigh-high leg warmers originally. And I made them in a beautiful dark teal. And I thought that they would be worn under a sweater dress or over skinny jeans, or something like that. And my editors said, nope, too sexy for the book. You're going to have to do something else. And I said, well, how about gauntlets? And they said, sure, let's do that. So I still have the teal ones. It's too darn hot down here in Florida to wear them. But if I end up doing a show this winter, maybe in January, going to New York or something, which is kind of on my radar but not official, I will be wearing them.
Oh, you go. Yeah, because these are definitely getting some love. And I mean, because when I looked at these, I thought, you do them in red or you do them in black, and I mean, they are definitely,
or go higher and make them for formal wear.
Yeah, or if you're a dominatrix. I mean, they're definitely, I think they're very sexy even in orange. So,
but how about if you did them in white for a formal affair?
Oh yeah,
do a tall one, like what's that movie? Pretty Woman. Remember when Pretty Woman, where she goes to the opera and she wears the tall gloves?
Yeah.
You could do these in white and wear that with an evening gown.
Yeah, and actually they'd be pretty for bridesmaids in colors to match their gowns as well. I mean, this would end up being a really nice gift for the bridesmaids, unless your bridesmaids crochet, and then they can make their own, which is even better. So, but yeah, they're so pretty and perfect for the summer, because gloves are really hot if you wear them other times of the year. So. And then this has such a cool story behind this, because when I saw this, I thought, oh, well, first of all, I love the kind of that ombre shading of the yarn, but I love pieces that you wear over other things, and it completely changes the way it looks. So depending on what you would put underneath this, I mean, it's a different outfit every time you do it. But this is actually a multi-purpose piece, the way you designed it, right?
Yes, this is definitely convertible. It can be worn a number of ways. It was and that's not a fluke. It was designed to be worn a number of ways. However, the way it's styled in the magazine, I wasn't even sure if this was possible until the piece was done. The hole that her neck is going through right now, the original idea was that it would go on one sleeve and be like an asymmetrical shawl wrap poncho that you would pin on this side or tie on this side. So imagine if the lace came down here and it just came across your body with this arm open, and then you would pin it here, and then this arm would be open too. So it would be asymmetrical, but it would still not one arm restricted and not the other. So that was the original idea. Then I realized it also worked really well for a keyhole opening if you were going to do one of those fancy voluminous scarves so that you had an opening for the ends to come through. And then as I played around with it more, it worked in other ways. And as I'm crocheting it, this is Tunisian lace, by the way. It's a very, very simple Tunisian lace. If you've done simple Tunisian stitch, this is a great new technique to learn. It's not that much harder. But anyways, as I'm going along, I'm thinking, wow, I wonder if I made it wide enough that it'll work for this style. I wonder if it'll, and then, 20 hours in, 30 hours in, I'm going, God, I don't know. I don't know. I hope so, but I don't know. And then when I finished it and blocked it, I was like, yes, it does work for this. I love the way it's styled here. But that anticipation when you've got something on the needles or the hook still and you have no idea. It's like it's going to be 50 hours in the garbage or it's going to be 50 hours and blocked and awesome.
Yeah.
But there was a lot of anticipation, and I'm so glad it turned out. I love it.
Yeah, and it's beautiful. And those epic, like those moments where it's either going to be epic or an epic failure. I mean, that's tough, and it's so nice when it actually turns out to be epic. So, yeah.
Well, that's the spiciness in my life. That's where I get excitement. So.
Yeah, I'm not going to talk about whether or not you need a hobby. So, because I don't think you have time for one. So this is so pretty, and I'm seeing this a lot now in like catalogs and magazines, the crochet skirts, because I mean, depending on what you slide on underneath this, it could be any color background. It can be over leggings, it can be over another skirt, it can be over jeans. So it's really, I love that I'm seeing these again because they're versatile and fun pieces, and they kind of appeal to the aging hippie in me as well. So yeah, Cassandra says she loves the versatility of this piece. I agree. So tell us about the skirt.
This is two different motifs. There's a large one and then there's a smaller one in between. And what I think is so gorgeous is that the fabric you can't even tell what's what when you see the fabric completed unless you really look closely. But there are two different motifs here playing with each other. And it's just, I'm in love with the motifs, with the way they play together. I would love to see this in more of an evening wear, like a little bit longer in a darker color. And like we've talked about in the past when we've had conversations about this, wearing different color slips underneath, wouldn't that be so pretty to change up your outfit? Like this would be a great beach cover-up also, or a summer dress if you did it in the right yarn. It's just, you could do all sorts of things depending on the color and then the color of the lining that you did underneath. A black one with a nude lining, how sexy would that be for evening wear?
Yeah, and then you could do those mitts to go with it and you'd be done. Yeah, you could. Yeah. So, but yeah, very pretty, really, really pretty. So, and just like soft and feminine and kind of boho and all wrapped up in one. It's really cute. So, and then what's really stunning to me about this is nothing here. It's all seamless. Those flowers aren't even sewn on.
No, this is a motif that starts as the flower, then works out into the square, and then joined as you go. And you take the whole one piece, no sewing, and throw the whole thing, which is gigantic, into the washing machine, and it comes out looking like this. This is my favorite piece in the book. This is one of my favorite pieces I've ever made in my 11 years of designing, and I'm not even going to tell you how many hundreds of designs because I don't know. Probably over 500, but I don't know. This is one of my all-time favorites. I love, love, love this bag. I look at it and it puts a smile on my face. And I don't know why, but there's something about those flowers looking like they're a sewn-on applique, and they are not, that just makes me giddy.
I could, when you told me that this was all one piece, I could not believe it because I used to do a lot of felting, and of course, the bag starts out big enough for you to like wrap a human being in it, and then you throw it in the washing machine and you hold your breath and you pray that everything goes okay, and then it comes out and it's like, well, it's like a tenth the size, but it's also, makes such a beautiful fabric. I was so stunned that these weren't like separately crocheted flowers and then attached after felting. That, I mean, it's
There's
magic.
there's a different part of this design though that was experimental. I knew the flowers were going to be okay because they weren't having to be sewn on, right? But I had been in shopping in stores, and this is when the laser cut leather bags were getting really
Yeah.
big. So like Isabella Fiore was having some, and Jessica Simpson was having some, and I want to say maybe Coach too. I don't remember, but I was looking at all these laser cut leather bags and going, God, it looks like lace. Why can't I do that? There's got to be something I can do. And I thought about, cutting leather, and I thought, no, that's stupid. I said, why don't you see what happens when you take crochet mesh, like just a plain mesh chain, single five, chain five single crochet. See what happens when you felt that. I wonder what'll happen. And I thought, well, can't start with just one thing. Got to, add on to it. So I thought, well, let's do a flower that's attached to the mesh so that it looks like it's sewn on, but it's not, and see if this turns out to be a laser cut bag with flowers on it.
Mm-hmm.
And so you can imagine how geeked I was when I pulled it out of the washing machine and said, that doesn't even look crocheted anymore.
Yeah,
And leather. The leather, I think adding leather handles, though, is really what sets us apart from looking crafty and looking store-bought or whatever you want to call it.
yeah. It's so funny. It's the whole, well, I wonder what would happen if I, and it's, yeah, you're crazy, but in a good way. So yeah, Lily says the bag intrigues her, and I do too. And and because I'm looking at the bag and I'm thinking, you could do some interesting things by changing up, like putting, like with this bag, you could put a hot pink lining in it, or because you're going to see it through the little, like the little mesh holes, for lack of a better word. It's like there's all kinds of crazy things you could do to change this up as well.
Well, that's why the bottom is solid, because I was thinking about this in two ways. If you were using this as a yarn and craft bag, you would want to see your project through it, so I didn't line it, but I kept the bottom solid so that things wouldn't fall through. So if you're using it as, a crafting bag, that way it's secure as is. But if you were to add a liner in a contrasting color, this would be gorgeous for a purse too.
Yeah, I agree. Really, really pretty. Yeah, Lily says that she finds this intriguing, which,
Thank you.
yes. And then if you get past that heart-stopping moment when you throw it in the washing machine, which is always, which is, yeah, you just can't help it because you can't see it when it's doing it. You have to just pray for the best. So this,
That's not true.
yeah, it could be a little nerve-wracking if you spend a lot of time on a project, and then the one thing that we don't do is like we especially if you make gifts, you always use superwash, or you tell people send it back to me and I'll wash it for you, because it's like the whole, oh my God, what if my hand knit sweaters end up in a washing machine? So it's kind of a little counterintuitive to actually intentionally throw your stuff in a washer with hot water. So
Correct.
yeah, it can be a little nerve wracking. So, but this is not nerve wracking. This is gorgeous. This is hairpin, right? This is hairpin lace.
Yes. I was looking, in fact, I was on Facebook one day, and a fellow designer, Kim Guzman, had posted pictures of passion fruit flowers in her yard, or passion fruit flowers in her backyard, and they were purple, and they had these really long, skinny petals. And I
Yeah.
was like, oh my God, that's so pretty. And I kept it in the back of my head and thought that would be a really pretty crochet motif one day. Then I went and decided to make this shawl in two colors in Tunisian crochet. And the other color was a silvery sage. And I made these big medallions in short row shaping of Tunisian crochet, and I did all of them. And then I went back through and I was going to make flower edging, petals of edging around them and join them as you go in this beautiful purple. And I took one look at it and I was like, that's the ugliest thing I've ever made in my life. And I was like, crap, I've already cut all the silvery sage yarn. I could unravel all these motifs, but I'm going to have 500 ends to weave in and it's not going to be pretty. What do I do now? So I'm like, I only have half the yardage. The book's due in a week. So this is the last project that needs to get made for the book. And I was like, I have half the yardage of what I need for a shawl, and I need to come up with a lace shawl, and it has to be purple only. It can't have the sage in it anymore. So I was thinking, sitting outside and staring off into space, going, okay, what am I going to do? What am I going to do? And I thought about those flowers in Kim Gooseman's Facebook feed one day, and I said, I wonder if I could take hairpin lace, make the strips with those long petally things, and turn it into a motif, like by cinching one side of it and leaving the other side open and making flowers. And I ran back in the house, grabbed my hairpin lace loom, and I made one. And I thought, oh my God, it looks just like one of those passion fruit flowers. So I raced the clock and made this shawl. And it turns out it's one of my favorites. And it was such a fluke that it even got made.
That is, what a funny story. And Jean says this is gorgeous. And Michelle says, oh my, she loves this, which I agree.
It's a lot easier to make than you'd even think. It doesn't look like what it is. It's really simple hairpin lace strips that you cinch all of the loops on one side and leave the other side open. And then I show you how to crochet them and make medallions so that you join it as you go to the other ones. It ends up being a very simple project. It doesn't take much yarn.
Well, that which is good for everybody, including you. So, yeah, and Jean says she loves the color too. This is one of my favorite colors, and I think it's one of those colors that just looks great on pretty much everybody. So that's always fun too.
It is. It's a lipstick color. That's what I've always talked about that. I have a raspberry in my yarn line, and when people ask me, well, you know, this is for a friend, and I ask them about the coloring and this and that. I say, if you're unsure, always go with the raspberry because it's the color of lipstick. And all those expensive makeup companies, they know what works on most people, and a lipstick color is usually going to work for most people.
Oh, isn't that funny? So I know people are going to want to keep track of you. So let's talk about where they can find you. First of all, they can, of course, find you on your website, styledbykristin.com, where you can buy signed copies of Kristin's books, but you can also, because you've got a couple of other things going on, you have hand-dyed yarn.
Mm-hmm.
You have Raptor, which is the perfect wash for your hand knits and hand crochets, all of which you can find on Kristin's websites, and also kits for some of your projects as well and your patterns. So you got tons and tons of things to go look at here. There's shopping.
I have two yarns actually. I have two yarns now actually. One of them is Be So Fine and the other one's Be So Sporty, and they're both 100% bamboo, spun, milled, and hand dyed here in the U.S. The Be So Fine is a fingering weight yard. It's 650 yards per 4-ounce skein, which is a lot of yardage, and I make a lot of patterns that are one skein projects, like one skein shawl patterns for that yarn. And then Be So Sporty is a sport weight. It's 325 yards in the 4-ounce skein. So they're both really high yardage yarns too.
Which is nice because that means less ends. We like
Correct.
Less ends. And Michelle says she wants to make all the projects in the book. And Cassandra does too. She says that when she looks at the patterns, it's like she knows someone who would like each one of those. So, hey, and Cassandra, if you like to crochet for holiday gifts, you can email me. I'll be happy to send you my address. So I keep asking. Nobody ever knits or crochets me anything. That's like the saddest thing. So, and Jean Mosley is one of your Rapture customers, and she said she really likes it as well. Oh, Savannah Gal's leaving us. Bye, Savannah Gal. So thanks for joining us today. So so Styled by Kristin is the place you want to head. And then while I'm talking about this, you can also go to Kristin's Etsy shop, because you can actually buy everything there. So you can see the yarn, you can see the kits, you can see patterns, you can see Kristin, as well as Kristin's art canvases, and signed copies of Kristin's books, which you can get all of that in Kristin's Etsy shop. So, and you can also see Kristin in her natural habitat. So also, it's obviously taken in Florida. So so yeah, so here you can also, if you're on Ravelry, you can go to Kristin's designer page and you'll see 419 designs by Kristin Omdahl, and you can see where you can find them, like what book they're in, or whether it's a pattern for sale. So you can check that out as well. And also, Kristin has some YouTube videos that you can go and watch, including so it's how-tos on things that you need, and then there's also some they've got all kinds of things here. Some previews of her projects and previews of her yarn, and gosh, you're a busy woman, Kristin. So, and then because she's got nothing else to do, of course, she teaches on Craftsy. Goodness gracious. So you can see there's a Sweetheart Shawls class that you can take, which is like learning from the designer is always fabulous. Then also you can check Kristin out on the on Pinterest. And
I didn't recognize it at first.
Yeah, it's you. It's like, and you'll see the patterns from the different books as well. And then, of course, there's Facebook, which, it just happens to say that you're on Planet Pearl today. So for Styled by Kristin is where you want to go, which is Kristin's business page as opposed to Kristin Omdahl, her personal page. But so Styled by Kristin is where you want to head over and see what's going on with Kristin and preview her newest designs. Or you see like here, where she has a free crochet pattern. So this is why you want to follow Kristin, because she's got stuff, So we always like it when we have stuff. Then, and of course, we do want to encourage you to call your local yarn store to see if they have a copy of Crochet So Lovely. If you want a signed copy, you can go to Kristin's Etsy shop. And if you just need it tomorrow, of course, you can get overnight shipping from Amazon, and we get the tiny commission. So if you go over to the Planet Pearl books section, you just click on books. Oddly enough, it seems to work. And then if you'll slide down, you'll see Crochet So Lovely here. And then you can just click the link to buy the book through Amazon and support Planet Pearl all at the same time. So, Kristin, I'm pretty sure you're just sitting around eating bonbons, watching soap opera. Are there still soap operas on TV? I don't even know. Watching soap
opera. I work from home, so I know what's on TV.
So I'm sure you're just sitting around. You got working on your tan, going to the beach. I don't know. So what are you up to now?
I just shipped all the projects for book number 12. I'm finishing up book number 13. I'm expanding my 2 yarn lines to, I'm expanding my yarn company by 400% in the next 2 months with new colors and new stuff, and that's all I'll say about it at this point. I'm working on a body care line of solid body lotions that are all natural and scented only with essential oils, so you get the aromatherapy properties of the oils in the lotion. Makes great massage oil as well as great moisturizer for your skin. What else am I working on? I'm hand painting, ombre dyeing my own yarn. And what else?
Oh, because that's just not enough.
Oh, and other stuff I can't talk about yet. I looked around the corner to see what boxes are on the floor. Oh, I just came out with 2 doll books. They're doll clothing books for 18-inch dolls, and that would be books number 10 and 11, I guess. And they the kits for those are in my Etsy shop also. And goodness, I know there's more. And yeah, most of the stuff I can't tell you yet.
But I know you'll be back. You'll be back to talk about
Absolutely.
it, right? So, and I think because because people in the room, of course, hang out, you know that we're going to give away a book while you're in here. And if you don't win a book today, or if you're coming back and watching this on YouTube later after the event, which most of you will be, we are going to have a Facebook giveaway starting tomorrow morning, which we're giving away a book, but we also have something from Kristin that we're adding to our Facebook giveaway. And Kristin, do you want to tell
Yep.
people what that is?
Please go check out the Planet Pearl Facebook page tomorrow after you've watched it here or watched it on YouTube, and there will be yarn and other goodies available to win as well.
Yay. We all love yarn. Anything yarn, we're good to go. So thank you so much for being here, Kristin. And people
Thanks for
in,
having me.
oh, it's always a pleasure. And people in the room, stick around because you know what's coming next. We're going to give away a book. Yeah. So you're getting so much love. That's a good thing. So hold on,
Thank
everybody.
you.
Giving away a book. Thanks, Kristin.